Hello, and welcome to a new edition of Loxone Explained, the format for all technology fans, Loxone partners, and those who would like to become one. I am proud to introduce to you a product in detail that completely rethinks the Loxone operating concept, the Touch Flex. The Loxone switch standard has revolutionized the world of home and building automation. Several 100,000 buildings are operated with a Loxone touch, but especially in large projects such as hotels, it happens that a guest has not yet had any contact with the Loxone switch standard. With the Touch Flex, we have developed a product that is even more flexible and even easier to understand. Each Touch Flex is individually lasered to your needs and contains a complete configuration for controlling your desired functions. Now, we will show you how to configure and order your Touch Flex individually to suit your needs. In our online configurator, you can choose from various design templates or layouts in the future. After you have decided, choose from over 200 different icons from our library and place them individually. In addition, under symbol groups, you'll find suggestions of icons that harmonize well with each other. There are 3 status LEDs on the left side of the Touch Flex. You can decide for yourself whether and when they should light up. A tip from us: use the top left touch point for the lighting. The status LED underneath also serves as an orientation light at night. You can also choose the variant of your Touch Flex: tree or air, white, anthracite, or anthracite self-luminous. You can customize the layout again and decide whether you want the up and down buttons to appear or not. If you have selected an icon field, you can adjust the size of the icon and define the individual text and font size. A special feature of the configurator is that you can define the functionality directly. Here, you define which function is to be executed via which icon. Especially in projects such as a hotel or office complex, there are many Touch Flex with the same functionality. The product comes to you fully configured and only needs to be connected and learned in. The function is defined in the API command area. For example, to switch through the lighting modes, the API command that is to be triggered when the arrow buttons are pressed can now be specified in the arrow areas. For example, next mood or previous mood. The display text area configures what should be shown on the LED matrix display when the corresponding button is pressed. This can be either a unique text or also an API command. Each API command for configuration consists of several areas: the block, the input of the block, and the respective command. In order to make the configuration as easy as possible, we will suggest predefined functions that match the selected icon. Let's just start with the configuration. At the top left, we have the light control that you want to use to cycle through different moods. The purposed function from the configurator for this is select mood. If we select the suggestion, the display text and configuration of the arrow keys will be filled in automatically, and you don't have to worry about anything else here. API commands can also be combined. A good example of this is the alarm clock. The proposed function, in this case, combines setting the alarm and setting the alarm clock. We use the status LED to show whether the alarm clock is armed or not. We then configure this in the Loxone Config afterwards. So, select icon, select predefined function, done. Or you can build an individual functionality using the API commands. As always, you will find an exact documentation of the commands in our documentation. For controlling the temperature, we choose the suggestion for setting the temperature on the Intelligent Room controller. Here, 2 commands are combined with one another, switching to the fixed set point mode and selecting the temperature. Now we switch to our desired climate by pressing the arrow keys. When adjusting the volume of the music, we also use the corresponding suggestions from the online configurator and now adjust the volume using the arrow keys or by pressing the respective button. To switch through our favorites, we also use the arrow keys after pressing the respective button. Configuring the buttons for shading is just as easy. The suggested function provides us with commands for the buttons to open and close the shading. We now use the free icon space, including the status LED, to activate the night mode and display the status. There is now no predefined function available for this. So we now select the function block under the API command. We want to switch on and off with a keystroke. In other words, toggle it. And the command is set. The status LED is then assigned again in the Loxone config. As soon as we have finished configuring the touch flex, we can save this configuration, share it with other people, or simply order it directly. If you have now received the touch flex and you learn it in as usual via tree or air, and there is an internet connection, the configuration will be applied automatically. If you don't have the hardware yet, but would like to use the configuration in the Loxone config, you can easily copy the config ID and enter it in the Loxone config. An internet connection is also required for this. And if you work offline on the construction site, for example, you can download a file in advance that contains the defined functionality of the touch flex. And now we show you what the whole thing looks like in the Loxone config. I have now already learned in our touch flex. First, let's take a closer look at the features of the touch flex. If I now click in the edit area, a dialog window opens in which all the functions defined in the configurator have already been adopted. The API commands can also be changed here. The display and LED brightness can be defined in the properties. The brightness can also be freely defined via an output. And in this drop-down menu, you can define what is shown on the display of the touch flex: time, date, temperature, and humidity, or an individual text, which can be transferred using a text output. Now the API connector only has to be dragged into the respective function blocks. Thanks to the previously defined functionality, the block now automatically knows what to do when a button is pressed. Now, we are missing the status LEDs. We connect LED 1 to the daylight function and negate it because we want to activate the LED automatically at night. Now we connect LED 2 and 3 to the alarm clock block and the night mode switch block. The touch flex has a temperature and humidity sensor, which we now connect to the intelligent room controller. Of course, these processes are also carried out by the auto config. This also saves a lot of time. And as usual with Loxone, the whole thing can of course be tested extensively with the help of the simulation. We switch through the lighting moods, set the wake up time, or activate the alarm clock, switching through our music favorites, changing the room temperature, and letting us see if the night mode is active. As you can see, the new touch flex not only can be individually adapted to your needs in terms of appearance, but also in terms of its functions. You can find all the information about the touch flex in detail on our online documentation. If you like this slightly longer video, we appreciate a thumbs up and a subscription to our channel.